100. It's a big number and a big deal. Students work hard to get 100% on a quiz, a test, a report card, a grade. A teenager will make their first $100 at a job, and they love having that $100, first $100 in their bank account. And even the contestants on The Price is Right go bonkers when they spin the big wheel and it lands on 100. In our modern day hip culture vernacular, there's even a phrase called keeping it 100, keeping it 100, which means I'm going to be honest and authentic and genuine and upfront about the conversation topic at hand. I'm going to tell you what I'm feeling and what's really going on. So can I keep it at 100 for a moment? And I want to keep it at 100 because next week I'll be celebrating my 50th birthday. I'll be turning 50 years old, and this is a big one. I feel this one. This is one that I'm thinking about a lot. Each of us have a birthday that comes along that gets a little more of our attention and contemplation. And as I come to 50, I'm thinking about John 1:16, where it says, out of Christ's fullness we have all received grace in place of the grace that had already been given. Again, each of us have a different birthday year that may be more significant, that may grab our attention, have us being more contemplative of what is happening in our life and what's ahead. For some, it's 18 years old, 21 years old, 30 years old, 40, and maybe even 65. For me, this 50-year-old birthday coming next week has really got my attention. And I think it's gotten my attention because I'm really just in a gratitude mode. I'm in a reflection mode of the goodness of God, the sustaining mercy of God, the provision and the protection of God, the way God has come through time and time again in my life. I'm thinking about Psalm 37:25, where David says, I was young and now I'm old. Maybe I'll change the translation for me to, I was young and now I'm older. Yet I've never seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging bread. So as I come to my birthday next week, I've kind of come up with this phrase, halfway to fullness, halfway to fullness, halfway to 100. I think I'm going to copyright that. And in my life, I could look back, and in each decade, I see God's provision, God's protection, God's plan unfolding in my life. Not to say it was always easy. There have been shifts and seismic events. There have been ups and there have been downs. There have been accomplishments and there's been obstacles. There's been victories and there's been heartaches. There's been miracles and there's been messes. In my first 10 years of life, living in a troubled home, dealing with abandonment time and time again, having a parent in prison, that made my childhood pretty rough. From 11 to 20, moving from New York to California was a major shift. Growing up as an angry teenager, my parents getting divorced, coming to Jesus, meeting Jesus at 18 and joining the staff at the church on the way. From 21 to 30, feeling called to be a pastor, meeting and marrying Joni, being held up at gunpoint and spared and making it out safely. From 21 to 30, experiencing what happened to all of us at 9/11, buying my first house, graduating college, having our first son. That all happened 21 to 30, becoming a youth pastor. 31 to 40, having two more kids, Pastor Scott dying suddenly, and being called to be a pastor here at Shepherd's House Church. Um, all happened in my 30s. From 41 to now, adopting Mia, one of the best days ever, moving the church to the new property, navigating the challenges of pastoring and leading people through COVID has all happened. And so just a lot has happened in this decade, but I've seen God come through time and time again. As I come to 50, I'm really approaching it with a sense of transition, a sense of let's move forward in thrive mode. I really want to be renewed. I really want to see this new chapter. I really want to celebrate. I really want to enter thrive mode. My prayer for the last month has been this: Lord, may the next decade of my life be the best one yet. May the next decade of my life be the best one yet. And already I'm seeing it because I'm right now in the process of finishing my first book. And next May and June, while I'm still 50, all 4 of my children are graduating from their level of school. It is really a time of thriving and newness in every way. And I want to encourage you, my prayer for you is that you would keep it 100 and would experience and believe for 100% of God's goodness, of God's promise to be released. My prayer is you keep it 100 and receive 100% of God's goodness and promise, that Philippians 1:6 would be yours to take hold of, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. I am confident in this moment, even in hearing this video, that each of us could create a decade by decade account of what has happened in our life, where God has met us in our life, and how he has moved in our life in amazing ways. The best is yet to come.